Hello. Today I want to have a real heart-to-heart with you about something that so many of us carry quietly. And have you ever looked up from the to-do list of your life and thought, wait, when did I stop being me? And maybe you've been holding it all together, organising school lunches, booking appointments, remembering birthdays, wiping down the benches, juggling work and life and everything everybody else needs. And somewhere along the way, you just got lost in the big mix of your life. And this episode is for the person who's done everything right, but feels as if something is missing.
Welcome to the Heart Path Podcast, your space to realign, reconnect and rise. I'm Nicola Spencer. I'm a thought leader, a coach in women's confidence, an NLP practitioner, a human design specialist, teacher and coach. And I'm here to help women in their 40s and 50s rediscover their purpose, find the joy in the chaos and rise into their next chapter with confidence and grace. Together we'll explore stories, strategies and soulful insights to help you embrace your true self and step into a life you love. This is where we let go of limits, redefine what's possible and thrive in every season of life. It's your time to rise. Are you ready?
This is my moment, my heart's design. I rise and thrive, the world is mine. On the heart path, where dreams take flight, I shine my brightest, my guiding light.
As women, especially mums, we've been conditioned to take the bulk of the load. And we don't just carry the tasks, we carry the mental load. And it's the orchestration of the entire family's day-to-day life. And for some reason, we feel as if it's our responsibility. And we anticipate the needs, we soothe out any chaoses that come their way, and we make things happen. And without realising it, we've got this badge of honour. It becomes something within us. And we tell ourselves, if I don't do it, who will? And we are praised for our multitasking, our selflessness, our strength, and whether that praise is coming from within or whether someone actually external to you is telling you this. But sometimes that strength is actually a mask, and it's a mask for deep soul level exhaustion. So I want to share something really personal with you. And there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, probably within the last 5 years, where I prided myself on doing everything. And even as my boys got older and they didn't really need me in the same way, I kept holding on tight. And I don't know whether I thought that it was if I let go of the strings, they will become free. I mean, that's what we really want for our kids, isn't it? But for some reason it was like I still had to be the orchestra of everything. I had to know everything and push everything, do all those kinds of things. Now I started doing things more for myself, and this was when I had started the idea that my business was something that I really wanted to do. So I started to grow myself, within myself, my passions and training and all the personal development things that I love to do. So to do that, I felt as if before I did anything for me, I felt like I still had to earn it. And I had to tick off of all of these invisible lists. And this was at a time, even after I'd done my NLP training. And when you do NLP training, there's a lot of neuro pathways that you learn about in your brain, and there's a lot of things that you forgive yourself for. But this was something that still kept repeating itself over and over. So before I did anything for myself to do with any like going away or any training, I felt as if everything had to be perfect before I did it. So, I had the invisible list. I'd have to have the house was spotless, and I had to make sure everyone's needs were met. I had to get meals ready, and I had to be available just in case anything happened. So it was only then, once I'd done all of that, that I allowed myself to have the time that I felt as if I deserved it, rather than, I guess I should say, I felt as if I'd earned it, rather than I deserved it. And this happened continually, over and over, and it was exhausting. And I can tell, looking back now, that I was headed for burnout, and I probably was in functional burnout, and I didn't even see it. And then there was this one time when I was at an event, and it was a breathwork event, and I was talking to one of the assistant facilitators on that day, and this was like one weekend. The very next weekend was a retreat that I was going on, and we were talking about that, and I had said something like, I'm a bit stressed. I've still got to cook meals and get them in the freezer for the time that I'm away. I was going to be away for a week, so it was a long time. And she kind of looked at me, and she just gently asked, do you really need to do that? And in that moment, I froze. It stopped me in my tracks. And I realised, no, I don't actually need to do all of that. My family would survive. They would be okay. They certainly were old enough. I think at that stage, they were both of my boys were teenagers. They would be fine. So I still did feel a bit guilty, of course, because I was leaving the house. There were daily responsibilities like getting the kids to school and all of that kind of thing, which I normally would orchestrate. That was left up to my partner. He actually didn't mind. Never once did he ever say anything about how hard it was going to be. But in my mind, it was an imposition that I'd placed on him unfairly. So I did let it go. And for that particular time, I didn't make the freezer meals. I went away knowing that for the next week, there were things in the freezer anyway, chips and nuggets and all that kind of thing. But they would survive. I'd taught both of my kids how to cook, so there was no reason why they couldn't cook. And I went to that retreat with a lighter heart, and I certainly was not as burnt out. I certainly was not as tired. I was not as frazzled by the time I got to the retreat. Often in the past, I kind of like have gotten somewhere and it's been like, now I can relax. And this wasn't like that. I really actually enjoyed the drive down there. I was relaxed anyway, because all I had to take care of before I left was myself. So I had a much lighter heart. And, you know what I'm going to say now. They survived, and I thrived during that whole time that we were away. I did keep in contact. When I'm away, especially then my boys were younger, I did try and message every day. But it wasn't to say like, hey, how are you? Is everything's going okay? It was more of a, did you have a good day today? Those kinds of things. So that moment became the barometer of how I now measure so many things. And, you could call it the freezer meal moment if you want for me, and it has become a symbol. And I remind myself that not everything I do, not everything I think I should do actually needs doing. And it's so important when you get it caught up in this should mode. I should do this, I should do that. It really, you are taking on a lot of other people's expectations, and you're turning them into your own expectation. And where did that come from? So I want to share with you something on what I now say to myself often to release myself from this. So just because I can do it, it doesn't mean I have to. So this has become a little mantra that I say to myself anytime that I feel a little bit of overwhelm coming in, and I check myself on where's the overwhelm coming from. And if it's because I feel like my to-do list is a little bit long, and then I say to myself, just because I can do it doesn't mean I have to do it. And I really check in now to see if that old pattern is starting to creep back. And it has helped me go away. I've been away many times since then. I've travelled more. I've left the house without prepping and planning everything down to the last detail. I've even left washing to be done with instructions, do the washing, and it has been done. So in the past, I would have done all of that, been exhausted and gone away and probably taken, if it was say for a week, I would have taken the first day to kind of get over the shell shock of actually arriving at the event. So my family, well, they're still surviving, they're still thriving, and I don't feel the resentful or burnt out feelings that I had before. And not once have anybody in my family said to me anything about what I used to do compared to what I do now. It's accepted, or we didn't even have a conversation about it. It's accepted that this is it, and they could look after themselves. So now I'm still a work in progress. We all are. But I've allowed that same release of shoulds to ripple into other areas of my life. And the freedom on the other side of that, well, honestly, it's actually amazing. It frees you up. It releases you of a lot of judgment of things that you do that you think, without thinking of it, you're doing because of what other people expect from you, and not in a nice way. So I've got a question for you. When was the last time you did something just for you, without guilt, and not as a reward for finishing everything else, not as a treat on the, once the to-do list is clear, but just because you matter? That's a deep question, isn't it? I'm going to ask it again. When was the last time that you did something just for you without guilt? Now, if that question has hit a little deep, take a breath. Okay, you're not broken. We're all doing the best that we can with the knowledge that we can every single day of our life. You're just buried under layers of responsibility and old patterns. And you can come back to yourself gently, one layer at a time. Now, these patterns have been put here sometimes generations ago. They have been put there by your grandmother, by your mother, and by you watching and seeing everything that they do. And we live in a different time now. When they were raising their families, it was a different time. We live in a different time now. We can't really compare ourselves to our mothers and our grandmothers because it is vastly different now. And you don't have to live up to these unrealistic expectations of everything you should be doing if it doesn't actually light you up inside. So I may have just what you're needing. On the 17th of May, I'm holding my Reignite and Rise retreat day, and it's an experience designed just for you. It's a day for you to reconnect with yourself, uncover your story, align with the woman that you are becoming, and begin to rewrite the next chapter of your life with clarity and purpose. And I'm holding this in my home. It's in the northern suburbs of Adelaide, and it's a beautiful, nurturing day. I'll pop some notes in the show, some details in the show notes for you. When I've run this before, the women have been, they've come as one woman, and they have left as a different woman, that you will not be yourself again. It really does give you a time out for yourself, for you to nourish and flourish in that. So if this episode has stirred something up for you, I'd love to keep talking with you. You can DM me, okay, and I'll send you the details where we can book a Thrive call in and help you reconnect with what really matters to you. Now, you don't have to earn your rest. You don't have to apologise for your needs, and your worth is not measured by your output. So thanks for being here. Thanks for walking the heart path with me. And remember, there's so much strength in choosing yourself. So bye for now. Follow your heart, trust the path, and remember, the magic is in the moments in between. Bye-bye.